Hi, welcome back. My name's Chris from OuiCommunicate. Is there such a thing as real French versus official French, textbook French? I'm making this video because it's a common fear that many people have to speak the wrong type of French, especially in France, and to risk the shame of being laughed at, to have French people rolling on the floor with laughter as soon as you say the wrong type of thing, and even maybe to end up on the national newspaper's front page. Foreigner said the wrong type of thing, the whole of France is laughing. The shame caused them to have to leave France in a hurry. Is this a plausible scenario? So we'll be talking about this common fear. And in this video I'll be acting as somewhat of a Vito Corleone character in the first Godfather film. I'm gonna be blaming some of the people in this room. Well, I'm gonna be blaming some of the people in this room also, starting with the YouTube teachers. Let's start. If you're learning French and afraid of sounding wrong, you're not alone. Many people share this belief. But this fear didn't actually come from real life. It came from YouTube teachers, and mostly French natives who confuse more than they clarify. These teachers often say things like, no one really says bonjour, we say salut. We don't say d'accord, which means I agree. We say dac. No one says vous because it's too formal. We always say tu with friends. And they present French like it's split into two languages almost. One that's official, boring, used in school, and one that's real, street smart, and cool. But this is not just misleading, it's harmful. What they do typically is that they take a step back from their own speech and they think, oh hey, I say dac in everyday life instead of d'accord, or maybe that's what learners need. Think of language a bit like a house. The engineer sees the foundation and the structure. These are the linguists. The architect sees form and function. These are the course designers, the structure. The decorator worries about colours and curtains. That's how pretty your course is, or how attractive the YouTube channel is. Personally, I see myself as more of an engineer. I'm an architect in the sense that I have to structure my course, and I'm a decorator in the sense that my course can't be too ugly. You see, it's a complete reversal of the priorities. And this is not about being big-headed. These are just facts. These YouTube teachers don't know what holds the house together. They don't know how it was built. They just want the house to look good, to make it look cool. So there really is no street French versus official French. What there really is what we call speech registers, the way we change how we speak based on who we're talking to, where we are, our age, our job, social setting, etc. So that cool slang expression they taught you, well, if you use it at the wrong moment, it won't sound cool. It'll sound awkward, it will sound forced, or even foolish. The fact is that real communication doesn't care about looking cool. No one will ever laugh at you for saying vous instead of tu. I can't emphasize this enough, it just simply will not happen. Never, not once. No one will think you're strange for saying bonjour instead of ouais, salut, or whatever the cool expression at the moment is. No one will ever roll their eyes if you use full grammatically correct sentences. It won't happen. The truth is, they'll be flattered that you speak French at all, and correctly, even better. So let us be overly clear. There's one French that works everywhere, one universal French. There's not several versions of the language. It's the one I happen to teach. One French, not several. And I can offer proof of this. My star student, Bree, the one who's been with me the longest, whose accomplishments you can find on the homepage of my website. There's a video that shows her speaking French. She actually got so good that we were doing a podcast together in French. But Bree speaks fluent French. You can witness this for yourself. She talks to everyone in France. She started while she still lived in New York, went over to France. She lives in France. She's in her 50s, by the way. She talks to everyone from pig farmers to artists, from cello players to manure farmers. She speaks to everyone. across the whole French society. In fact, just 2 days ago, she was in a town called Lectoure. Lectoure, like lecture, lecture, but with an O-U, Lectoure. And she stayed at an Airbnb. Actually, it was a gîte, as they call them. So she stayed at a gîte, and she said the next morning we had a very long breakfast for 2 hours, and I spoke with the hosts of the Airbnb. And I said, wait, let me stop you, Brie. Do you realize what you're telling me? You're an American in your 50s, and you're telling me that you had a 2-hour flawless conversation with French people. And you talked about French culture, not 2 hours. I said, Brie, how many Americans can do this in France? How many English speakers can do this in France? Do you realize what you're telling me? But I happen to know very well Brie's speech pattern, because I taught her French. She's never learned street French or slang expressions. She just learned the French, the only French that matters, the real functional, solid French that works in every room, in every place you go to in France. Has anyone ever laughed at her? No, not once. So where does this fear come from of speaking the wrong type of French? Again, it comes from bad teachers, YouTube teachers. It comes from people who confuse their personal speech habits with teaching methodology. It comes from people who never studied teaching, who never studied linguistics, and have never tried to build fluency from zero themselves, because that's also very important. Often, they are teachers who've lived their whole lives in France. They lack the multicultural perspective, because France is monolingual with a vengeance, and they assume that what works for them will work for you, but they're wrong. So to conclude this video, you don't need real French versus textbook French, because it doesn't exist. You need the one solid version of the language that lets you speak with confidence, be taken seriously, adapt across settings, and communicate like a human being. Learn the French, and no one will ever laugh at you. On the contrary, they'll admire you. They'll say, I just met someone who speaks great French. They are American. How rare is this in France? But seriously, they will. If you're able to offer that conversation in France, you can bet, you can be sure, they'll go back to their French friends and they'll say, I just met someone, an American, an English speaker, they speak in French. It's that rare. It's that rare in France. And even if you do make mistakes, they'll admire you for it, because it opens up the door. There's many clever sayings about how a language is the way to a person's heart and it flatters them and everything, but it's true. It will open that door, even if you do make mistakes. It's the only thing that matters. No one will ever laugh at you. Don't worry about it. It'll never happen. Learn the French, which is the one I teach. See you soon in a class. My name's Chris from OuiCommunicate.